Hello, friends, and welcome to a brand new series. Today we are playing Amplitude Studios Endless Space 2. This is a game I have been really excited about. I resisted playing it in early alpha because I played Endless Space 1 years ago when it came out, and that was one of the very first early alpha games I ever bought, actually. And I really enjoyed it. I played it so much while it was in early alpha that I kind of wore it out, and I never played it once it was actually released. And I feel like I missed out on some stuff because they did some release post balancing and stuff like that. So this time I decided I was not going to touch this game in early alpha, and it was really hard to not play it. But I'm really glad that I did because this game is very well balanced, and although it does have a few minor problems, I think most of them have already been patched out because they just did a new patch release today. Um, it's really amazing. It's really deep and complex, and I'm really excited about it. So if you are a regular viewer, you probably know that I've streamed this a couple of times in the last week. We're playing as the Sophons, which is the kind of the science people. But this time we're going to try something different. So let's go ahead and get our new game set up. And today we're going to play as the Horatio. Now the Horatio is really interesting. I feel like the Horatio are one step past the standard. I feel like the humans and the Sophons, and maybe the Vodiani or whatever the it's not the Vodiani. The Lumeris, I think they're yeah, those guys, the Lumeris. I think those are all kind of more standard, um, um, uh, whatever cultures or empires to play, and then you get like the weird ones like the Vodiani with their ships. They're bound to ships, and you get the Unfallen, which are like living trees, and I guess the Cravers are probably kind of normal. But and then the Riftborn, which you have to build, and they have time stopping abilities and all that stuff. So those guys are all really exotic and crazy, and like probably too complex for a game where I'm still pretty new at it. I did just play a game as the United Empire, which is the humans. I played that on normal difficulty and I won. I'll be honest, I haven't quite won yet, but I am very close to winning in my offline game. So much so that like the game keeps telling me you're about to win, and I still haven't won yet, but I'm crushing that one. So this time, I figure Horatio. It's unique. You go through and take your minor populations and you splice their genes into your own, like you sacrifice some of your minor population, and that improves your population's abilities. It sounds really interesting, and it's supposed to be one that's a little tough at first because they're kind of weak, but then they become strong, and then towards the end of the game, they're like super powerful, like godlike beings, and so that sounds really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's their special effect. When you do slice another population in, it increases your food consumption by 5%. And in my playthrough as the humans and also as the Sophons, food does become kind of a valuable commodity. So that's really gonna put the brakes on us. It's gonna be an interesting challenge. And the Horatios, on the other hand, they do produce extra food, so that's real nice. They're gonna grow quickly at first, and that'll help make up for their growth later on. And they also get +2 approval on hot planets, which isn't really all that great. I mean, it's okay. I'm not complaining, right? We'll look for hot planets, but hot planets are like the least common. I'd say cold planets probably the most common, and then temperate. But we'll be wanting to try to go for hot planets. So I set up all the other empires within the standard thing. We've got pretty much standard across the board for everything. I did set the game difficulty to hard. I'd been playing on normal. I bumped it up to hard. Um, I'm still pretty new at the game, but I'm generally good at this style of game. And like I said, I just beat the game on normal on, my third or fourth playthrough. I was able to beat the game. So I feel like moving up to hard is good. Of course, over time, I want to get it up to impossible or endless. That'd be real nice. Everything else I left on standard size, standard galaxy size, standard. We do have a random galaxy shape. That'll be fun. And yeah, we're ready to go. So let's get this thing launched. We'll watch the movie, and I won't talk through the movie. It'll teach you who the Horatio is /R, and yeah, it's a pretty interesting movie. Definitely sets the tone for what this colony is.
They only ever saw what was in the mirror. I always saw what was beyond. They saw deformity. I found beauty. They saw madness. I found genius. For the longest time, I have been the only one who sees what lies beyond the mirror. But soon, very soon, they will see it as well.
So yeah,
From the
Horatio.
very
Oh,
brink, no man has traveled further, struggled more, and unraveled more of the mysteries of the universe than Horatio. At least, according to Horatio. Now, with a great nation cast in his image, Horatio is ready to extend his vision to beautify the rest of the galaxy. Look in the mirror, Horatio, and you will always find the answers you seek.
all right. So Horatio, his backstory is that he was like a trillionaire who, obviously was taunted because he looked different than everybody else, and people thought he was crazy. Does sound a little megalomaniacal. And so he took off and built his own world and built a clone army to populate that world. And now he's decided to take his clones out and populate the universe. Um, so Horatio will have a dictatorship for our government, so we don't get to. I mean, we can always change it later on if we want to, but the great thing about being a dictator is you can do whatever you want. So we've got a dictatorship. We don't really have to worry about elections and political parties and stuff. So that'll be a little nice. In my human playthrough, the government did end up eventually being taken over by militarists, and so now I've got a military government, which is kind of annoying because I was trying to stick with the industrialists. But I won't have to worry about that here. It's all Horatio in this one. So we start out with a hardship ready law, and doesn't look like. It enables colonization of telluric planets, so non-gas planets. However, you will suffer a penalty without the correct colonization technology. Okay, so that means we can colonize pretty much any uh, solid planet, but we will suffer a penalty from colonizing them. And of course, we can pass another law. What's this green fertility bill? Plus 20% food per anomaly on colonized planets on systems. That's pretty good. It does require one influence upkeep per population, and that's a pretty steep price. So I don't know that I really want to do that. Toys for Boys, of course, is always a good one. It gets you great popularity boost. Larger host bill, that gives us a larger manpower. We don't really need that right now. I think I'm going to hold off. I feel like our popularity is, our happiness is probably going to be in pretty good shape, and I'd rather get that bonus science at the start. But we might go Toys for Boys when the time comes up for that. So those are all the laws that we have available, so we're not going to pass any new laws at this time. Um, I don't really think there's any other big projects to work on. Of course, we have science and stuff, but before we think about what science to do, let's take a look at the planets that we have available. So we have ash, snow, and ice. We get a bonus from hot planets, so ash might be the one that we want to try for. Um, this does have negative anomalies, unfortunately, so that's not good either. And I'm not really sure if we can see what our penalties would be for working on this planet from the very start. Um, but it looks like we'd probably be struggling to make enough food. So I think I'm going to not start colonizing that quite yet, but I will start with the drone networks and cerebral reality. Drone networks gets us 5 production and 5 food, so this is pretty much always the first thing that I build. Production, of course, will allow us to build the next thing faster. Cerebral reality gets us 10 dust and 10 science. Dust is their version of money. At the beginning of the game, dust is very hard to come by. You can see this drone network is going to have an upkeep of 2 dust, which isn't too bad, but and of course, industry is industry is industry, across like all games. So there's a lot like Civilization in that sense. Food drives growth. So basically, I'm not 100% sure on how the food, like what numbers you need to get to grow another population, but you can see we will grow our population in 7 turns, and that's because we have plus 43 food coming in. So I guess we need to have 300 to grow. So the more food that we produce, the faster we will grow. This shows our improvements. Of course, we don't really have any improvements. We have our colony base, which costs 20, and whatever the other thing was. So we don't need to worry about those. Actually, might want to build a. Actually, let's look at our ships. See if we can make some adjustments. I'm not a big fan of the default ships that they give us. You can see here, this beautifier is our colonizer, and it starts with an open slot, which seems a little silly. Why wouldn't we start with 2 engines so we can move a lot faster? So I'm actually going to go ahead and apply that design. And same thing with our scout ship here. It does look like they used up all of our slots. And we have 2 slots for probes. I could switch one of these out for an engine, but I think they've got the right idea. 2 slots for probes. Pretty, whoops, I didn't mean to take that one off. It's a pretty good deal. Can I, and this can be anything? Wow, fantastic. All right then, so I'm going to put another engine slot in there. There you go. So it's going to be fast. It's going to have a lot of probes. Having a weapon on here is really pointless. We're going to have to run away from pirates anyway, so I'd rather have this fast and highly probed out ship. As a matter of fact, I'm a little tempted to go with another. You know what? Let's do it. We're going to be all about the probes. So we've got a lot of probes. It's going to be expensive to upgrade it. We have 100, so if we want to upgrade it, it's going to take us a few turns. But I think we will send it out scouting first. So let's start with our revealer here. Let's send a scout down that road, and we'll send a scout down that away. Nothing that close, unfortunately. Do we have... we should have started with 4 scouts, right? Nice. So we can also check our anomalies in the system using our scouts. So let's... whoops. There we go. Let's send a scout to our medium ash planet here. Or a probe, I guess. I'm sorry. Analysis of the ruins. So we made 25 science there, which will be handy. And we will send it for one of these anomalies as well. Ah, great! We have deciduous trees, which is a luxury resource, and that's useful later on. So, great. So, did that move up all of the moves? We used all of our moves on our scout ship, our colony ship here. If I want to upgrade, it would cost 141, so I guess we're not going to upgrade our initial colony ship. I'm sort of tempted to wait to colonize my first... It seems silly to wait to colonize my first planet. But the thing about colonization is it eats up all your food. It's like so demanding. Yeah, we already knew that. And of course we have our original hero, which is this guy. So we will assign him to our colony. Excuse me, boy. Let's take a look. Can we? Hey, we can rename this guy. Great. It's gonna be Sean. I'll take the. Hey. Let's see if it remembers it now. There we go. Great. Okay. If you would like your name in this game, leave me a comment and I will name all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I can name in here. I can name fleets after people. I can name planets after people. I can name heroes after people. So leave me a comment. I will name something after you. I'll put your name on a list. If at first it's going to take a while, but eventually we'll have probably 100 things to name people after. So I should be able to get everybody in here. And that'll be fun. So I am assigning Sean to our home system. And can I rename the system too? I don't think I can rename. Oh, I sure can. So there we go. I'm not gonna rename that one. I'll save that for whoever whoever leaves a comment, and we will rename this home system after you. We rename our planet after you. I'm not sure that I can rename Horatio Prime. Yeah, I guess this one I can't rename, but it'll probably who knows. But I believe I can rename like Zachor 3, and maybe not until after I've colonized it, but doesn't matter. All right, I think we are. Oh, that's right. We need to pick a technology to start with. So we've got what is it? A lava, or an ash, a snow, and an ice. Well, I think ash is a level 2 technology. That's tundra. That's not going to help us out any. This one that allows us to use Hyperium, which is useful. That gives us Titanium, also useful. All right, no more Tier 1 colonizations. Steppe, snow, savanna, arid. So ash might be Tier 3 then. Well, that's kind of a shame, because I really would have liked to have that one, but you know, it is what it is. I guess we have to wait. It'll be around here somewhere. Ash. Oh, colonize ash. Okay, great. Okay, so let's get these done then, and then we can open up the ash colonization, which will allow us to colonize and fully utilize that planet in our home system. I think that'll be a pretty good way to get started here. Wow, 7 turns to research that, huh? It'll be faster once we get these other things done. All right, and that ship, I thought that ship had already used all of its moves. It did. All right, so end turn. I always want to adjust the camera angle on this, and you just can't do that. So, all right. So our colony ship has gotten here to Zinnius. Here in Zinnius, we do have a jungle planet which is colonizable, Mediterranean. Now, sure would be nice to know whether I legitimately can colonize these, or whether I can colonize these because I have that special skill. And also, like, are these the actual yields I would get, or are those the hypothetical yields, and my actual yields would be different because I'm not set up properly for that? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Well, you know what? There's more than one way to find out. Mediterranean. So there's one right there, colonize Mediterranean. Okay, so we are capable of colonizing that from the very start. So let's go ahead and do that one. Now, this is going to be a little difficult on our home planet and also on our pocketbook, because if we go back to Zachor here, we don't need to look at our planet specifically, but you can see our food took a big hit. So 26 food is going to that outpost, and it still says that we're going to grow in 21 turns now. We were going to grow in 7 turns. So it definitely hurt our growth here in the home world, but we've got we'll have more food coming in here from drone networks, and eventually there's going to be additional food making stuff that I'll be able to do. What does this do? Oh, that's not that interesting. All right, so we should still have this ship that does not have any responsibilities. It's sent out all of its probes. Let's head down this one. I'm going to guess that it's going to meet up with that other one when we get down to where that star lane ends. Now, in Endless Space, you start out where you can only use star lanes, but about a third of the way through the game, everybody starts getting warp drives, so you can go between star lanes. You know, you can travel without using star lanes, but it's like really slow to travel outside of them. One of the minor complaints I have is that it's really hard to not use star lanes. You can try to micromanage your trips and sort of not use star lanes, but even like anytime that star lanes will make a faster trip, it will always use star lanes. So, you know, like if I was at this star over here and I wanted to travel to this star, but I wanted to use hyperspace, it wouldn't let me. It would force me to use the star lanes on that, and there's really no way to get around that, unfortunately. And that's really a drag when, like, say one of my opponents owned this star and I wanted to travel back to my star, I'd have to travel through my opponent's territory, and that tends to get on their nerves. And there's no like open border agreements or yeah, I guess pretty much just open border agreements is what it would be called. But here, this looks like an asteroid field. If we can get this into our zone of influence, it will provide us with some benefits. But right now, it's not going to do us any good. So let's send a probe out that way, and let's continue heading down that star lane there. Oh, looks like we found another another star there, but this one, Othero. Othero's got a lot going on there. Nothing that we can legitimately colonize, though. We can, of course, colonize any of these. And that huge lava planet might be worth trying to grab. It would be tough to feed ourselves off of that thing. This huge desert planet probably be good. I'm gonna guess that they are hot. Although it is kind of far from the sun, so it's hard to say whether it's going to be hot or not. But what they do have are anomalies, and you can see that because those little exploding rings on their image there, and those anomalies, definitely something you want to be investigating as you get started. They provide you with little bits of bonuses, and they also cause you to achieve some quests. So. Three of us stood around that table, a spectacle for all Horatio to consume. Gorgeous, brilliant, and indistinguishable. The guards and attendants had one question only. Who was the original? I claimed to be, of course, every bit as beautiful and smart as either of the other two. That had to be the case, for we were the most perfect copies, biological, psychological, and developmental, that the most advanced cloning science of the galaxy could make. No scientific test existed that could tell us apart. Each one of the three of us a microcosm of Horatio perfection. Yet only one was the real Horatio, Horatio Prime. I wonder what parents... Oh my gosh, that's just way too much story. Okay, so, you know, the Horatios, I bet you it does look like it's amusing. Clones, they're so predictable. So we have three objectives. We can increase the population to 12, which would get us crafted nutrition plant. That would get us... is this... so it's +4 on Horatio. Is that on all... is that on all Horatio or only in that system? I'm going to guess that it's only in that system. Luxury +2 influence on Horatio. Influence is nice, but unless you're playing as the humans, it's not all that amazing. And then, of course, +4 industry on Horatio. Well, I think we're going to go with the population, and also that is the faction that we are part of that faction. So we're definitely going to go. We'll go with increase our population to 12. All right, great.
We are Riftborn. We come into your cosmos on a mission of survival.
All right, so we have run into the Riftborn, so that means we have neighbors fairly close by. Where are they? Maybe they have a probe going through our system? I don't know. Oh, nope, there they are right there. Wow. Alright. So, hello neighbor. Looks like they're just a few jumps away from my home system. So that's going to make things a little crowded here at the beginning. But the Riftborn are pretty peaceful. So I'm not too concerned about it. I am more concerned about getting boxed in. That would be a real shame. You know, I guess we could end up going to war with them. Wars are kind of tough to fight in this game. They take a long time. It's kind of like Europa Universalis 4, where you have to work really hard to take territory in a war. It's slow and methodical, but you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's start scanning some of these anomalies here. We'll check that one first. Looks like we got 150 dust. Well, that's pretty nice. And we'll scan this one. 25 science. Well, I'll take that too. Great. All right, so we've got one more anomaly in here to scan, so we're going to leave this guy resting until we get another scout built up. I keep forgetting to set my timer, but that's okay. We're almost done. Great. And looks like we are ready to end our turn. All right, so we've gotten our first technology that will allow us to colonize that one planet that we like. I don't want to do. Oh wait, we didn't do ash. Oh, now we could do ash. Well, crap. So we still got to do that. And that's 13 turns to get that. That's a long time. On the other hand, I did study this technology just specifically so I could open up that one. Multi-thread management is a good one too. That will allow us to actually start producing dust. What do we have over here? Food production, but not very strong food production there. And this, of course, is the basic military stuff. All right, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, right? We'll go for that atmospheric filtration so we can colonize that ash planet in our home colony. This guy, he's waiting, so that's good. Yeah. So, be the first to have 3 unique star systems in your improvement in your empire. Well, that's not going to happen anytime soon. A lot of quests in this game. It's nice because it always gives you something to do, but none of them are like critical, you know. I'm not very good at following through on quests, so. All right, so we've gotten a new probe here. We discovered the planet Cryos. I assume this is the home planet of whoever that was that we were just talking to. Not sure where I discovered it at, though. Interesting. All right, maybe it was just a... Oh, okay, nope, just a big empty planet. Why did they make such a big deal out of it, then? I know you're saying, well, why didn't you read the flavor text? It probably told you why it made such a big deal out of it. And to that I say, yeah, you're probably right. All right. Expedition successful. So there's another luxury resource, super spuds. Yeah, I just said that. Game, listen to me and you don't have to repeat what I just said. All right, we have done that. Let's send our ship back here and boost it up to the more powerful version that I made in the custom designer. And see, we've already improved our speed and production, I think, of food. So we'll grow slightly faster. Our colony's still got 20 turns left. My gosh. I could speed it up by spending 150 dust, but I really wanted to use that dust to boost up our colony ship, and I think that's really going to be the way to go. But unfortunately, this video cannot go on forever, so we are going to call it an end here. I hope you are enjoying this first episode of our series. This game starts off a little slow. It's not the fastest paced game ever, but it is really fun and it gets very complex, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you are enjoying it, leave me a comment down in the comment section. I will name something after you. Maybe a planet, maybe a star system, maybe a fleet or something, or a hero, who knows. There will be a lot of things to name after my commenters. So leave me a comment. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!